right, just getting ready to do some work in my car, and I want to cover a couple of things first before I get started, and that is around safety. Just please be very careful when you're working on cars, especially, you know, there's just lots of areas that can cause problems. One thing you want to make sure is, you know, never depend upon your jack to hold up a vehicle. Get you some jack stands. Get you a wheel chock to hold the front and the back tires. I use one. You know, if you want to use multiple, that's certainly area for safety. You know, hearing protection, especially if you certainly want eye protection as well at all times, and gloves. I use these nitrate throwaways, and I'll usually put another pair on with them just to.
All right, I'm getting ready to change the oxygen sensor on my 2003 Ford Expedition. Should be the same on probably the 04s and 05s, but I could be wrong. And maybe all the rest of them. All right, this is the one that's after the catalytic converter, which is up here. So I'm on the passenger side at the moment. Just did the driver's side. The right looks identical. That's him sitting right up there. So what I'm going to do is start out by spraying it with some penetrating oil to kind of help get the get it loosened up. Excuse me. And then the only fancy part you're going to probably, or thing you want for this, is a one of these little oxygen sensor socket wrenches, and it just fits on there, and your drive goes into that. And I'm using a breaker bar, which gives me a little bit more leverage because they're kind of in there pretty tight. And then the bad wheel comes right out. So screw them out, screw the new one in, and you're done. The only reason I'm replacing this, and this particular one, when I was looking at when I was checking out the engine performance in the other day, I noticed that this particular one was very slow, if you will, about reacting, and so that's why I'm replacing it. They should, when you look at them on a scope, they should be sort of like a heartbeat, just up and down, up and down, up and down kind of thing, and cycling. And this particular one would like go up, stay up forever, and go down, stay down forever. It would stair step real slow. So that's generally the signs that they've gotten old. They hardly ever just quit working, but they just get very slow to react to anything. So don't expect any great miracles by changing this. May get a little bit better gas mileage. So it's not something that's drastic. I just, you know, this car's got 250,000 miles on it. I still use it as my family travel car, so I try to keep it in tip-top shape the best I can. So anyway, I just happened to notice this the other day, and I thought I'd go ahead and replace them. And I replaced both of them. The driver's side looked fine, but I just go ahead and put both on. I had changed the ones that were before the catalytic converter, probably a couple of years back. They're a little bit more difficult to get to, especially the one on the passenger side. The driver's side is not bad at all, but the one that's on the passenger side is a nightmare to get to. I'll warn you there. Alrighty, I have sprayed it with penetrating oil, so I'm kind of letting that work out. So the next thing you want to do is just follow the cable up until you find where it plugs in, and it just has a little push-in pin on it that you push and pull out. So you want to do that before you start screwing on it. One of the most difficult things about these things to me is screwing them in and out, and you got that cord sticking out, and it doesn't swivel. So it wants to flip and flop and twat, screw it, cause all kinds of problems. But it would sure be nice if they just put some sort of a swivel end on any of these things, so you wouldn't have that problem. But they don't. But anyway, that's the next thing you want to do, and then I'll show you what it looks like once I get my wrench on it. All right, so I hope you can see all this. So I've got my little wrench, my little oxygen sensor wrench on there, sitting on there, and then I've got a breaker bar here that I'm just going to remove it with. So they're on there pretty tight. Again, this is a 13, 14-year-old car, and a lot of heat going through there, so that bad boy has had a lot of time to melt in there. So anyway, this is the end of the cap I took off. Actually, there's the little piece that you just push on and pull it out kind of thing. Not difficult, a little bit harder to get to on this side than the other side, but not near nothing like the one before the catalytic converter. So, all right, so I'm gonna beat this thing off, and then we'll put the other one on. All right, got him off. Pretty simple to get off, and that's kind of the way it looks like. I said that center is actually in your exhaust stream, so you can imagine how hot it gets. These things are pretty sensitive, or pretty fragile, even though you wouldn't think so, but they are. So you don't want to drop them or anything, so be real careful with them while you're dealing with them. So this is the new one. So it looks a little bit different. It's always a good idea to kind of make sure they look alike, make sure the cable looks alike on the ends, make sure you got enough cable length, and this one's a little bit longer than the original one. I'm using Denso, D-E-N-S-O sensors. I always prefer to use Ford if at all possible. This looks like it's made by Bosch, but the Denso is about half the price. If I can find the Fords at a good price, I will. If I don't, I'll generally pursue if I find a Denso product. And this goes for about anything. Just in case you don't know, Denso, like I said, D-E-N-S-O, they are Toyota's version of Motorcraft. So they're the parts supplier for Toyota. They spun them off just like everybody else, just like Ford did in Motorcraft, and GM did Delco. So they're good stuff. They don't be afraid of them. I've used them on lots of things now on this car if I can't get the Ford. So don't think of them as an aftermarket supplier that's suspect, because they're good stuff. All right, enough of that. I'm going to put some anti-seize on here, and it comes with that in the package. And then put him on there and tighten him up and bolt it on, and then we'll be done. So that's all there is to it. Hope you enjoyed this. If you got any questions, please let me know.